morning, it's Andrew O'Donnell with Supercharged Stocks. I'm happy to be here with Chris Berlet, who's the CEO of Canuc Resources. And it's been about 6 months since we've talked with Chris. And boy, oh boy, have things changed. I mean, lots have changed out in our world. But back then, I mean, the stock was trading anywhere from 6 cents to 8 cents. And not that stock is the only thing that matters in the price. But right now, you're up at 24 cents today. So that's a significant jump. So we definitely wanted to see with you what's happened in 6 months, what's helped to grow the company and get so much attention and to have such a good run up till now. And what are we looking for in the future?
Okay, Andrew, thanks. It's great to see you again. Great to be back on again. So yeah, a lot has happened in the last 6 months. I'd like to say was smart, but basically I'd rather be lucky than smart. Seem to have been lucky this time. And what's first thing was we found we started work on some new claims that nobody had looked at before because they were owned by a private Mexican coal operator who had anthracite, interested in anthracite only really for his metallurgical coal business. And so we bought those claims October last year, a very large claim around the end. Week one, when we started looking at it in July, we found a breccia zone, very large, quite extensive, 200 meters in week one. Second week, it doubled in size. 400 meters long, 80 meters wide. Third week, it doubled again, 800 meters long, 80 meters wide. And we found old workings all the way through it. So at least 12 old mine workings with magnetite, a bunch of magnetite. The whole thing was mineralized. The magnetite in the high-grade veins was, 2,000 grams, but the breccia structure itself, 800 meters of strike length, 80 meters width. Very exciting to find this breccia structure of size, almost a kilometer long and 80 meters wide.
Yep.
Loaded with magnetite. And then we found a report actually around the same time prior to the assays written by the head of the Colorado School of Mines Department of Geology, 2006. He'd been on these claims or on claims to the south and called the area kind of an IOCG camp. And basically his report, which is on our website, was for us very interesting because he specifically identifies the absence of magnetite as something that was visiting these claims that were Constellation Copper at the time, and we had tons of magnetite, a whole swarms of magnetite that with the silver. And his report effectively says, look for the magnetite, you'll find an IOCG kind of core system. And so we were at the same time as we found this breccia with magnetite, swarms of magnetite through a 1 square kilometer area and certainly associated with all the veins. We also found this report from Dr. Murray Hitzman, and so we became quite excited. And then also 2 companies came to this area on contiguous claims to the ones that we had. One was Barksdale Resources from Vancouver, very, very credible group run by Rick Trotman, and a league of geologists, exploration geologists, supported by some of the best names in mining finance, including Tech and RCF and U.S. global investors. I mean, and I believe it's Cisco and Eric Sprott, but they really have a roster of fantastic shareholders for the right reasons. They're great exploration geologists. And then on October 5th, there was an announcement from Cisco Gold Royalties that they're spinning out a new company that had acquired contiguous claims to the east of our ground position, as well as their Caribou project. This was going to be a new company called Cisco Developments, headed up by Sean Roosen, which was also fantastic news. He's probably the premier mine developer of the current generation. Just fantastic, incredibly successful. And for the right reason, very successful at building mines, effectively, good mines. And so it was a good endorsement. This area, San Javier, about an hour and a half east of Hermosillo on a paved road, has got a lot of attention. We've had very interesting progress geologically, and the area itself has garnered some very credible new partners and players in there, which which has been a great catalyst.
It's the equivalent of having any kind of big name academic group looking at a project. So that leads a lot to it as well. And then also having, I mean, I know, Cisco obviously is quite well known in the space, and I know Barksdale quite well myself. So those are, once again, great indicators. It certainly, it adds a lot more promise to the project. And also, I mean, people are looking at gold, but certainly a lot more people are looking at silver. And Mexico, what an incredible area to be in as well. Not only is it mining friendly, but abundance and historical abundance of silver as well. So all of these are great snapshots and quick kind of reason why people, if they're looking for a company that has money in the bank as well to some extent, because I don't want to veer off too far, but just as a side note, you have a natural gas asset and you have IoT asset as well, which helps to cover some of the costs, especially over those lean years. And it's not that you're an energy company or anything, but it's one of those things that, not to get lost in the weeds on, but it helps to cut costs down when you have an asset that's bringing in some cash flow, where other straight exploration companies would have had to keep on raising and diluting the company far too much. So you've held a tight structure, and that's also been seen, and I think the market's favored that.
Yeah, the natural gas, basically, there's 8 wells, pipelines on the property, long life. There's other zones above pipe that will be able to be produced, and a steady cash flow. We're careful with our money, and so yeah, the cash flow has been it's allowed us to remain debt free and solvent and very disciplined with our corporate expenses. So, but the big hit will be silver. Is our silver in Mexico? Silver's a great metal. It's highly conductive. So on a scale of 0 to 100, it's like 100. The copper's 96, gold to be 76. It's got all kinds of applications. That got antimicrobial properties.
Yes.
Silver has low price elasticity of supply and low price elasticity of demand. And what that means is that you can change the price meaningfully, and the supply doesn't adjust as quickly with something that has low price elasticity of supply. And low price elasticity of demand means that you can change the price, let's say, and not have a significant demand influence. What that means is that prices are sticky. So if we have a threefold move in silver to $70 an ounce, $60 an ounce, the market could clear there and remain balanced there. Given this low price elasticity of supply and low price elasticity of demand. We're getting ready to drill. We're doing high frequency magnetic surveys, drone supported right now, and then we'll follow this up with low frequency ground based and drilling, which we've organized, contracted, and expect to begin in early December.
Excellent. So we're going to have some news flow as well. So I think you've got a presentation to show us as well, something to walk through. Yes.
I'll try to be 10 minutes.
No problem.
So, again, natural gas in Texas providing some cash flow, and the silver asset in Mexico. This is how we characterize things today. Basically, the discovery potentials off the silver exploration that we have in Mexico, and the long life natural gas provides cash flow. That's our team. Been doing this for a while. Tito Montano, I'd say probably the most important element. A master's in geology, very competent, has been around some of the major discoveries in Sonora and in Northwest Mexico. La Choya, Kitavac, even Campo Morado at the early stages, fully convinced we're on the cusp of another such undertaking here with San Javier. So good, competent team capable of executing here. This is IOCG, what Wikipedia has to say about this deposit type. Again, this was Dr. Murray Hitzman called it. And I believe even Barksdale, the Rick Trotman, that group have used this terminology. So people a lot smarter than me and a lot more capable of making these assessments than I am are calling that the kind of geological potential, the deposit potential that we're looking at here at San Javier. So I outlined there, though, they are big and valuable deposits, the ones that do exist in other jurisdictions. So tremendous size, simple metallurgy, and high grade of the IOCG deposits make for very long life, extremely profitable mines. So this is really just to show that in Sonora, obviously value does accrete to discoveries. There's been some fantastic value creation from silver discoveries in Sonora State. This is us. Acquired this claim October. We started work in July, and the very first week we came in on the top, we found the breccia zone 200 meters long. And you can see we're taking samples across it. It turns out it's mineralized. This was week 1, July 18th. Week 2, doubled in size. Week 3, doubled in size again.
Boom.
Yes. Okay, it breaks down south now, and we're well over 800 meters in strike length. We're sampling comprehensively through the breccia, and we're looking at sending samples to the lab for this quite substantial, in relative terms, size structure. Week 4, we find old workings all the way down the back of through the middle of this breccia, and it breaks down south to 800 meters. So these old workings, there's at least 12, like little adits and underground, based around magnetite. And so we sample those old workings, and by September 22nd, we had the assays, and they're basically, the whole thing's mineralized with silver, the entire breccia structure, and the veins have a very high grade to bonanza, like 2,800 grams over half a meter was the best, but several above 1,000 associated with the magnetite in veins down the in the old workings down the middle of the breccia structure. We found this Murray-Hitzman report that talks about magnetite and the importance of magnetite. So today, what we think is, this is the magnetite swarms. It's a 1 square kilometer area, effectively in the middle of this claim group, that has this magnetite swarms manifest, and in every instance, the magnetite comes with silver, and there are high grades of gold and copper in here, but the silver, 20% of the assays were over assay for silver, had to be sent back to the lab because they were above 3 ounces. This 1 square kilometer, and when we look at this area and we kind of read carefully what Dr. Hitzman was saying about the potential and the importance of magnetite as a component of these deposit types, we think this is kind of an area of great interest. And we're doing right now magnetic surveys over this area, high frequency drone supported magnetic surveys, and we'll follow up with low frequency ground-based magnetics, and then drilling. And then this is the 2 companies that came this year, August, Barksdale, again, very credible, very well run group, and then that Berlet Ventures shell, which RTO is RTO with Cisco Gold Royalties and will become a Cisco Developments. So, and that's run by Sean Roos, and like I say, probably no better, I mean, a premier mine developer of this generation, no question. So very good neighbors, very exciting for us, and they're contiguous claims. I'll show you what that is. This is our ground up here with the square kilometer, what we think is a very interesting core target for the IOCG. These are the claims to the south, picked up by Constellation Coppers. It's now Barksdale. And then the Berlet Ventures, which is Cisco Developments, right there to the east. So it's contiguous to the south and contiguous to the east of these claims, in particular this claim group that hosts this, what we think is a very interesting looking geology that's played out over the last few months. So this area has a number of infrastructure advantages, not lost on the mine developers that are here, have come here. 3-phase power to the town of San Javier, paved roads to the town of San Javier. So there's a lot of infrastructure. The history of mining, it's a small ejido friendly, mining friendly group, a small ejido with only 74 members, and some fantastic partners that we have now in the area. This is where we are. Basically, it looks like we think that this very large breccia structure and this magnetite swarms is the area of interest that we want to follow up with immediate effect for the potential for this high-grade silver-dominant polymetallic feeder that was referred to by Hitzman in his report. And so, you know, when we look at this, the structure is 800 meters long, 80 meters wide. Everything is playing out pretty well precisely as Dr. Hitzman had called it in his site visit report from 2006. We've contracted the drilling. Drill will be mobilized to there by middle of December, early December, and then Q1 2021, we're looking for results of this process. It is a pretty disciplined capital structure at this a 20 million valuation with a very large potential from the exploration target that we're after. So no options outstanding today. A tight capital structure, and 20 million valuation.
What depth are you talking about? Is this shallow, or is this at depth? Like,
well, we're going to see this, but
Yep.
yes, the magnetite comes to surface in those old workings.
Yes.
So I don't expect them to be more than 200 to 400 meters.
Okay.
To what we're looking for is a significant magnetite plug, not just the veins, but something that's more massive than that. That's 800 meters of breccia from the top down, and 80 meters across, starting on the fault on the from us on the left, and grading on average maybe up to 1 ounce, with bonanza grades of old workings all the way down. Yeah, that's the structure, the breccia structure. Okay, now we're going to look at Dr. Murray Hetzman's report from 2006. 7 and 8 and page 12 of his report were the key. Page 5, he says, little to no evidence was seen of magnetite mineralization. This is 1,500 meters to the south.
Yeah.
The alteration suite and the lack of magnetite suggests that these prospects represent very high levels in the IOCG system. The absence of discrete magnetic anomalies in the area of Constellation's properties suggests that these prospects may be structurally detached from the lower portions of the hydrothermal system that would be expected to have large areas of sodic alteration. And it's essentially the magnetite. He says no magnetite here. And he says it again, page 7 and 8. He says, one possibility is that Cerro Verde, that's the property there, represents a high-level portion of an IOCG system that has been structurally displaced along low-angle structures from its deeper, more magnetite-rich core. Okay, and we've got tons of magnetite. We have these intense magnetite swarms over a square kilometer. Then in his conclusion, page 12, basically he called it, as far as I'm concerned. He says, a deeper core zone with potential mineralization, magnetite bearing, should be present somewhere in the area. And based on available magnetics, this zone could be southwest, northeast, or north. And that's northeast, north is exactly where we are in relation to where, so he had called it pretty well. Yes. And then he concludes and he says, it appears to me that there is potential for a very high grade, possibly very high grade, probably structurally controlled deposit somewhere in the district. And that's what we're after here.
Testing this thesis, which it seems you're advancing quite, I mean, you're making a very strong case, to say the least, for these targets. We're definitely very excited to see what the results come in the meantime, but also the drill targets that you're going to have for spring. This is going to be pretty exciting. And yes, the scope and size of these types of targets are I mean, they're blue sky. It's elephant hunting, which is also would attract a lot of interest.
We think there's a potential that this this magnetite, this area with intense magnetite swarms could be very related to the lower levels of an IOCG system, and that's in the middle of our northeast claim group, and so that's where the focus of our exploration, as we get rolling here this week and in December.
Well, excellent. Well, as we can see, well-deserved increase in activity, stock price, interest. As far as workable thesis with lots of strong indications, this is very attractive. And certainly for someone like myself, if you're going to go for something and you're saying you kind of fell in your lap, why not go for something huge? And this has a potential to be a significant discovery if the plan moves ahead as hoped. So I'm really glad that you spent some time to walk us through this and to tell us the thesis that you're testing and the results you've had so far. Really excited to hear the follow-up, and I'm sure there's going to be lots of activity on the stock in the meantime.
Yeah, thank you very much, Andrew. It's great to be back on the show, and I hope to come back again with some very exciting news.